Good morning to all of you. Today we're starting about your class 12 ray optics. Dear students, you know a little bit about ray optics as you have studied in the class 10. The basic concept of light already you have studied in the class 10. Like that your image, object, image formation, different types of lenses, different types of mirror, all these things you have studied in the class 10. I will try to give you some hint of the basic things which you have already been taught in the class 10. In the class 12, those are also will prove very important in the class 10's courses, class 12 courses. You know that the optics of the class 12 has been classified in two parts: ray optics or geometrical optics, as well as your wave optics. Those will study part by part. So let us start with a very basic concept about reflection. If I ask you what is reflection, our first things that is reflection. What is reflection? Reflection is the bouncing back of ray of light once it comes from a source and strikes to a obstacles or strikes to a surface. Once it strikes to the surface, it goes back to the same medium. Remember, the ray of light coming from a source, and after coming from the source, if it strikes to any particular obstacles or any particular surfaces, then it goes back to the same medium. That is called reflection. So if I consider, suppose, if I consider this is to be a reflect any surface. If I consider this is a surface, suppose this is a surface I have considered, and let me give the name of the surface to be XY. Suppose this is your XY surface. Now there is a ray of light coming from this way. This ray of light, let us suppose this is your AB ray. This AB ray is coming from a source and it has struck to a surface. After striking, this ray will go to the same medium. This phenomenon, this process you see. Suppose this is your BC, AB, BC. So this ray came from a source and from an unknown source we can consider. So this ray is coming and striking to this particular surface. After striking to this surface, this ray is going back to the same medium. This phenomenon is called the bouncing back of ray of light once it strikes to a surface, and this is called your reflection of light. Most important thing, in case of reflection of light, whatever, if you consider that this above part from the reflecting surface is a different medium, and below part of the reflecting surface is a different medium. That means it may be some water or other mediums. If you consider this is air medium or so, the ray of light came from the air medium and went back to the air medium. That means the ray of light are bouncing back to the same medium when after striking to the surface. This point where the incident ray has struck, this point will be known as point of incidence. So what is point of incidence? Point of incidence is the point where incident ray strikes. Now if I consider here a perpendicular axis, if I consider here a perpendicular axis, suppose this axis is supposed to be D dash. This D dash will be your normal. Okay, so we have found couple of things. First of all, we will find AB. What is this AB? This AB came from a source and strike to a particular point in the reflecting surfaces. So this AB will be known as incident ray. Similarly, this is BC. BC will be known as your reflected ray as it bounces back to the same medium after striking to the surface. Next, your DD dash, that is is a perpendicular axis standing right at 90 degree with respect to the reflecting surface. So this d dash will be known as your normal. So you can find here two angles to be formed. This angle to be angle of I, this angle to be angle of R. This is angle of incidence and this is angle of reflection. Okay. So these are the basic parts of basic things in case of reflection of light. Now in this case we can form two formula from here. If I consider this is point B, this is going to be your point of incidence. Then you can find angle I is angle of incidence. This is point angle R. This is angle of reflection. Fine. Now one thing, if you observe in this diagram, you can find that this AB. What was AB? AB was your incident ray. This is D dash. D dash. Then your BC are going to lie in the same surface. AB, that is incident ray, D dash, that is your normal, BC, that is your reflected ray, are going to lie in the same surface of the plane. Number 2, we can find angle of I, that is angle of incidence. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection, that is angle I equal to angle R. So these two are called the law of reflection of light. That is, we have studied in the class 10 also. I have repeated here so that you can remember all this thing very clearly. So AB, D dash, BC, or incident ray, normal and reflected ray lies in the same plane of the surface. This is number 1. Angle of I is equal to angle of R. That is, you can say angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. So this is simply in case about the reflection of light. You kindly note it down. One more thing I forget to tell you. You just note it down. That in case of reflection of light, when the light is coming from the source and striking in the surface, and once it bounces back, that means will be reflect. There will be no sense of frequency, no sense of speed, and no sense of wavelength. That means when this ray of light will strike in the surface and will be reflect back, that means in the case of reflection of light, there will be no change of what? There will be no sense in wavelength. Wavelength will not be changed. Next, your speed will not be changed. Speed will not be changed, and frequency. What? Frequency will not be changed. These three things will remain constant in the case of reflection of light. You please remember it. Wavelength will not change, speed will not change, and frequency will also not be changed in case of reflection of light. That is very important thing. Only intensity of light might get changed in case of reflection. What can get changed? Intensity of light might change in case of reflection of light. Okay, you will note it down. Next we will come to a new topic for you, that is you have not studied in the previous classes. That is angle of deviation. Angle of deviation. Angle of deviation, delta. That is very handy one. Angle of deviation, delta. Okay. Same diagram. If I consider this is to be reflecting surfaces. Suppose this is your any type of reflecting surface. Let us consider this is to be XY. I am considering a incident ray has been coming from a source and will be striking in this point and will be reflected back to the same medium from where it came. Like that. This is going to be your normal, as usually. So this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, or this is D dash. And this angle is angle of incidence, this angle is angle of reflection. Now you imagine a situation, this incident ray, it has bounced back. Why? Because this ray has struck to the surface. Okay? This ray has struck to the surface, that is why this ray has bounced back to the same medium. If this surface is not available, then what will happen? This ray would have gone this way. This was its origin direction or not? This ray has bounced back because this ray has struck to this reflecting surface. Now, if this reflecting surface would not have been present here, what will happen? That this ray will go straight away. Now, as this ray has struck the surface, this ray will be what, bending like this way. That means how many angle? It is producing this much of angle. You getting my point? This ray, in this angle, this ray has been bent in this direction. This ray, okay? This ray has been bent in this direction by making this much of angle. So this angle is called angle of deviation. We express as delta. Okay? So angle of deviation, if I want to find out angle of deviation delta is equal to, hold this angle from here to here. This much angle is how much it is going to be? This angle is going to be 180 degree minus angle of I plus angle of R. Understand? So delta is equal to 180 minus, I can write also as twice of I, or I can write 180 minus twice of R. So this is angle of deviation formula you can write. Remember, delta is equal to 180 minus angle I plus angle R. This whole angle is 180. So if I need to find out this angle delta, so I need to subtract angle I plus angle R, that is 180 minus angle I plus angle R. From the reflection formula, what you found? That angle of I is equal to angle of R. So if angle of I is equal to angle of R, I can put the value here and here. So this, if I put the value of angle I, this will become what? Twice of I. If I put the value of angle R here, this will become twice of angle R. So this is angle of deviation. That is delta is equal to 180 minus twice of angle I, or 180 minus angle of twice of R. Is that clear? You kindly note it down. After angle of deviation, one very common concept will come to picture. That is, see, if I consider a ray, suppose this is a reflecting surface, I am considering two reflecting surfaces in this case. You can mind it, very important concept. As I have told you that if a ray of light has been striking to the surface, then this will go this way. It is very common thing. Okay, this will be the normal, as well as the ray between the incident ray and reflected ray. Okay, so in this case, what happening? This ray has been incident by making some angle in the surface. Okay, but if a ray of light normally incident, to the surface, these are reflecting surface. Can you see the difference between these two diagrams? In this case, what happening? They are going by inclined. This type of angle is called what? Inclined angle. Okay. But in this case, you can see that this ray of light has been normally incident. or has come normally. That means if you consider this is the incident ray, what will be the angle between incident ray and the normal? Hopefully it will be 0. So in this case, angle of I will be 0 or not? Because this is incident ray, normal will also be in the same direction. So angle between normal and incident ray will be 0. Hence we can say angle of I is equal to 0. So and if angle of I is equal to 0, angle of R is also equal to 0. Okay. So in such situation, what will happen? If I find an angle of deviation here, what was the formula of angle of deviation? Angle of deviation delta is equal to 180 minus twice of angle R. So in this situation, I can write that delta is equal to I, angle of I is 0, so is equal to what? 180 degree. So this ray will be bending like this. So that means this is going in the same direction or same medium from where it came. And am I clear? So this is a very small concept you should remember. Kindly note it down. Next, we'll have about object and images. Object, you know what is object? If I am standing in front of a mirror, I will become the object. Okay? Or if you keep any object, any particles in front of a mirror or glass, that object which you have kept will become object. Am I clear? Image is different thing. Image will study after that. So object. What is object? See, there are some very important concepts regarding object. Object you can classify as real object and virtual object. Remember, you can consider as real and virtual. Object will be classified as two types by real and virtual object. If I consider this is an object and this object is diverging the ray of light this way, what happening in this case? You can clearly see that this rays of light has been diverged. Okay? So if you consider this is the object who have been diverging the ray of light, then it will become real object. This is what? This is your real. Why real object? Because it has been diverging the ray of light. If the ray of light get converged in this fashion, so this object will become, if you keep an object in this side, suppose here you have kept the object somewhere and it has converged the ray of light in a particular point. So this object will become what? Virtual object. This will become virtual object. Or if you keep here a plane mirror here, suppose I am keeping a plane mirror here anyway, so what will be seen? So there will be some breaking line you can represent. What they will mean? They will mean that in the presence of this particular mirror, ray of light will appear to be meet in this particular point. Remember, okay? In presence of this particular mirror, this ray of light will seem to be appear to the particular point. Okay? So we have come to know that object will be two type of real object and virtual object. So real object converges and virtual object, real object diverges and virtual object converges. So this type of situation we'll face and we'll study on the time. It will be more clear to you. Okay. Next, we'll come back to the most important part. You should know very clearly, that is image. Image has got a fantastic definition. Image can also be classified as real image and virtual image. Real image and virtual image you can classify. Image can be classified as two types of, as we classified the object, real image and virtual image. What is real image? The real images, in case of real images, the reflected rays of light actually meets or actually intersect. In the case of virtual ray of light, what happens? They does not meet actually. They appear to meet in a particular point. You please mind these two words. In one case, the reflected rays actually meet in a particular point or intersect in a particular point. But in the case of virtual images, the reflected rays appear to meet in a particular point. So if I consider what is real image and virtual image. So if I consider a mirror to be here, suppose it is a plane mirror. I will show you different situation. This is a plane mirror for us. Suppose this is a plane mirror, these are the layer. Okay. Now in this situation, if I consider an object has been incident normally, how it is coming? Normally. That means if a ray of light normally incident to a surface, what happens? It goes back to the same medium. Okay, like that. It came this way, it will also bounce back in the same direction. Suppose one more ray you consider it is coming by making some inclining angle. It is this time just coming like this way. Object this is, remember. So what type of object it will be? It will be real object. Why? This will be real object. Why real object? Because it has diverging two ray of light. One normally, one inclinedly. So as you know that this ray will go this way. Like that it will pass by making some angle, and if we apply here the law of reflection, you draw the normal. So there will be two angles. This is one angle of incidence, one angle of reflection. Now can you see actual meeting of the reflected ray? In this case, no. Okay, because this is the reflected ray going this way, and in this case the reflected ray will bounce back this way. So then what will happen in this case? I will extend backward. I will extend backward this one too. You see, I am extending this way. That means this will be the image of this particular object. This object was real object, and this image will be virtual image. Why it is virtual image? Because reflected rays are not actually meeting, or you can say reflected rays are appear to be meet in a particular point after being reflected. Am I clear? So this is your virtual image. So real object is producing virtual image. One more situation you can consider. Suppose this is going to be your reflecting surface. Again the same phenomenon. Let us suppose this is a reflecting surface. Now if you consider that this time the ray is coming like this way. Okay? Orange, this is coming like this way. They are coming from the sources in this process. Now what will happen? Once they will strike in this position, so they will be reflected or not. They are going to reflect like that, and this is also going to be reflect like this way. Am I clear? This is the incident ray, and this is now what? They are reflecting back or bouncing back. This is also an incident ray. They are also bouncing back to the same medium. No, obviously they are meeting what actually or not. They are intersecting actually. So this will be the image, and this image will be what? Real image. But object will be virtual. Why? In this case, object will be behind the mirror somewhere here. This will be the object. So this object will be what? Virtual object. This object will be virtual object. Is that clear to you? So the real image forming virtual image, real object forming virtual image, and virtual object forming real image. Can you guess these two situations? What is happening? Okay. So in this case, you can see the ray come from this way, went back. Again, in this case, ray came from this way, again went back. So they are meeting actually. So this is the point where the real images has been formed. But object will be what? Object you can find somewhere here because they are appear to be meeting. So this should be your virtual object. In this case, this is the ray, bounce back, and again this is the ray, go this way. There is no chance of actual meeting between these two reflected rays. So this will be your real image, real object, and this is your virtual image. Is that clear to all of you? Kyle noted down very important thing, image. Next, we'll study a little bit about the plane mirror and the image formation in plane mirror. What is a plane mirror? If I draw a surface like that, a plane surface, suppose it is a plane surface where one side will be completely layered and this side will be polishing side. The above side where the images will be seen, that will be your what? Polished part, cleanly polished. But behind this side there will be some layers so that we can see the image somewhere here. So this is a plane mirror. Okay, it is plane in shape and one side is polished totally and other side is layered so that image can be formed. Now what type of images are formed in case of plane mirror? We'll see here. Okay. Again, same thing I will consider the ray of light coming from a source and has been incident normally. So if this ray comes this way, it will also bounce back in the same direction or not. It came normally, so it will bounce back in this same medium. You consider one more ray that is coming like this way. What will happen in case of this ray? This ray will be go by making two equal angle I and angle R. Is that clear to all of you? Fine. Now if I make here normal, hence I have applied the law of reflection. Can you see here any image right now? Or can you see here any chance of meeting between the reflected rays? No. So what I will do? Reflected rays of this situation will be extended backward and this will also be extended backward. So once I extend backward, I can see here the image. So this was the, suppose A, this is your B and this is suppose your C, or you can give like that. Yes. So this is the image formed in case of plane mirror. So the images has been formed where? Behind the mirror. This is back side of the mirror and this is front side of the mirror. So where images forming? Images forming in the back side of the mirror. Okay. So what type of images form in case of plane mirror? In case of plane mirror, images form is virtual. It is virtual and erect. Remember, images formed in case of plane mirror is virtual and erect. And where it is formed? It is formed behind the mirror. But the most technical point in this case is that in this diagram, AB will be BC if you go mathematically. Okay? But I'm telling you shortly that this AB will be what? Distance of the object in front of the mirror. This AB. And what is this BC? Distance of the image behind the mirror. So in this situation, distance of the object in front of the mirror will be equal to the distance of the object behind the mirror. This is most important thing. So in case of plane mirror, what type of images are formed? Virtual and erect type of images are formed. So that was all about the basics of optics, and as the course will proceed, we will go to some hard topic and it will be very wonderful to study with you in case of optics. Thank you.